to the Toppling TBR. I'm Stacey.
And I'm Hannah. And today we are going to be doing a deep dive into Throne of Glass by Sarah J Maas. I know it's a very beloved series. I have read it all. Stacey has not.
I got as far as book 3 and then I stopped so we could do this. So I feel fresh.
And as we all know, it's a phenomenal series and we do not want any spoilers for her, but I am very excited to go along this journey and experience it all with her for the first time and be here for her to cry.
Thank you.
All of the things.
Yeah.
So the first book is, just an introduction. There's not anything crazy in there. I did notice more upon the reread, but I figure we'll talk about characters, ideas, thoughts, all of that. So the first thing I want to talk about is Celaena Sardothien. Basically how she has her mask that she puts on to the world versus, her true self. And I think that the mask is the assassin, honestly, because she had to be thrown into that. That is what she's had to be her whole life. And her true self, I actually really love her. I mean, she puts on this arrogant, vain persona, but deep down, I absolutely love the way the SJM humanized her and grounded her and brought her this, arrogant assassin down to earth by making her a huge bookworm and making her love candy and fashion and all of the things.
I really enjoyed that too, that she was a reader and that was a big part of the whole series was her love of books. I liked that.
Me too. And I love that she made Dorian a little bookworm too. And honestly, on the reread, I didn't realize that Chaol liked to read. I forgot that. So whenever I read that he likes books too, I was like, awesome. Everybody loves books.
Yeah. I thought that was a really clever nod to readers by making her characters readers. I really enjoyed that. That was something I wrote down too.
Really? I've actually noticed that in a lot of books that I've read, that everybody in them are avid readers. But, I mean, if people love books enough to write them, they're going to make their characters, more aligned with their interests.
Well, it helps us to connect too, right? So we read, they read, and we have something in common.
Yeah. How do you feel about Celaena? Do you like her?
Do you know, the first time I read it, I wasn't a fan. I felt like she was kind of bratty. I don't know why she stuck around. The second they got her out of that prison, I was like, why didn't you go? Because you could have stayed hidden and you could have just lived your life. But she decided to fight for her freedom. And that really irritated me the first time around. But the second time around, I'm like, I saw her as the girl she was, the one who lost her parents and ended up in prison and now is fighting for her freedom because she wanted to die. I was on her team more, much more.
Towards the end of the book, she's like, freedom. I've never been free a day in my life. So I feel like she made the right choice for her in that, because if she ran, she absolutely could have gotten away. She could have, shed those guys easily, but she would be on a run the whole time and she would never actually truly be free.
Yeah.
I think this is a chance for her to really be free, and that's exciting for her. She deserves it. She's only 18. I forgot she's only 18.
She's just a pup. My daughter is older than her. My daughter's 19. She's just a pup and she's been through hell. And I think we forget, the first time I read it, her loss of her parents and being forced into being an assassin at a young age, I kind of felt like she wanted that the first time around, and the second time around I was like, that's all she had. That was her only option to survival. So I think I got her wrong the first time around, and this time around I could really see who she was as a person. Because you could see that she cared. She didn't owe these people anything, but she knew that leaving the king meant they'd all die. And she wasn't prepared to do that. So I don't know. At the end of the book, I was like, aw, I kind of love her.
I honestly think too, and I went back and forth with whether we should read Assassin's Blade first or Throne of Glass first. The first time I did it, I did Throne of Glass. I did Assassin's Blade third. Yeah. But I think that, avoids any spoilers, but you said that you didn't like her the first time you read it, and I think I remember calling my friend in the middle of Assassin's Blade and being like, okay, I love Celaena now. I like her now. That's the book that made me fall in love with her. So I'm wondering if we had read it first, if you'd have more sympathy for and understand her situation a little bit better.
You know what? And you're probably right. That might have been the case. But I kind of felt, because Sarah J Maas wrote it this way, where this book was written later, that I felt like she was filling in gaps that we needed to know, but we didn't need them at the beginning. And I know she stuck it at the beginning because that's obviously the past, right? But I kind of felt like learning who she was right when she was in prison was the right call. I wanted to see her rock bottom first, and I think that's where Sarah J Maas always intended it for it to be. But she was trying to fill in a backstory, so I kind of liked that. I'm glad that we've done it this way.
Yeah.
Because I was reading online, I'm like, should we have started with it? Like, when I started, I was like,
I think the only positive with doing Assassin's Blade first would be to actually understand and know how much of a badass she is. Because you get a little bit of, I could hit the bullseye if I wanted to, but I'm going to aim a little bit to the left. You get that she's talented, but you don't quite know the depths of it until you get more of her story.
Well, I really liked the fact that she had to hide who she was. They gave her a different name, and she was hiding who she was. So she had to be a little less. She had to tone herself back. But at the same time, there were things that she was kind of rusty on, too. So it was really interesting to see her develop from the start of the book to the end of the book. And I felt more connected this time around, I guess.
That's
more
good.
connected to her as a person. I'm glad we've done it this way. She
is my favorite main female character of all the Sarah J Maas books. So you'll get to know how her brain works a little bit more throughout the series, and it's awesome.
I'm really excited for that. I've only read A Court of Thorn and Roses, the series, and I don't like Feyre. I'm not a big fan, and I haven't read Crescent City yet. So at this point, she's definitely my favorite.
I like Bryce in Crescent City a lot, actually. Feyre wasn't my favorite. She had a lot of potential.
Yeah.
And there was like a scene where there was a battle and you got to kind of see her come into her own, and I was like, yes, I'm going to love her. And then she just kind of fell off after that. So,
she's just whiny. I don't know. She's just a me. Yeah. Tell me what's me locked up. Me. I don't know. It's just.
Bryce in Crescent City is more on par and more aligned. She's sassy. She's smart. She's all of that. So I think you'll enjoy that whenever we go through that too.
Excellent.
Okay, so talking about Celaena, how did you feel about the competition and the tasks?
You know what? I can understand why they picked the tasks that they did, because assassins would have had to have used one or more of these things during their career as assassins. So it made sense they were being tested on these things. My biggest problem was I didn't understand why the king was doing it, because I think he already kind of had his heart set on Cain. So why go through the preamble of these tests?
I think he's a showman. He likes to show his power. He likes to show, I don't know. First of all, people are going to die. So that's exciting to him, I would assume. He's, kind of a dick.
Yeah, that's for sure.
I don't know. Also, I think Dorian was pushing for Celaena to be his champion, and Cain was the Duke's champion. So I think everybody had their own idea of who it should be.
Yeah, I kind of felt like the king had already set his mind on Cain, so I don't know why he went through the theatrics, because everyone in the castle didn't know all this stuff was going on either.
Right.
I thought she was just there for Prince Dorian's sexual pleasures. So It's not like anybody knew. So I was kind of confused why the king felt it was necessary, and I'm hoping maybe it gets answered in another book.
Yeah, actually, I've never really thought about that.
It seemed really unnecessary, but I wondered if it was just the author's way of showing us what she could do without being on the battlefield. I'm wondering if that's why it was in there.
That's what I was kind of going with, is honestly, I feel like, yes, I understand the tasks and tests that they chose. In my opinion, they were boring. Like, tasks and tests are in a lot of books, right? There's trials and all kinds of fantasy books. And a lot of them are exciting. These were boring to me. So I think that SJM really used it as like a backdrop to give some character development. You get to see her skills, you get to know Nox and Graves and Cain and all of the other characters, and Chaol alongside training her. So I think it was more to use to get to know Celaena and to get to know the characters a little bit more.
Yeah, it's funny because I made a note and I wrote it was very Hunger Games when they're training before they go into the arena, when they're playing around learning skills and whatnot. Right. It kind of felt a little bit like that, but longer. Like, if the Hunger Games
ones more, like their talent show and all of that. Like, I enjoyed that a little bit more because it had a little bit. She was trying to stay under the radar in this book, so it was a little.
Yeah, I don't know. It felt a little Hunger Games to me, because I actually wrote that down. And I'm like, Hunger Games vibes here, and I'm like, I could see what she was trying to do, where she was trying to show the skills that Celaena had in such a way where it was in close confines, opposed to on a battlefield where you don't know what's going to happen. This is kind of structured more. Mm-hmm. I don't know. It felt a bit long. Like, I don't know why it took so much of the book up.
And the entire book.
It seemed really unnecessary. I would have liked more of her going through the passageways and maybe a little bit more of, like, Elena, like what that was going on there.
7 more books.
I know, but I guess for me, I felt like it dragged a little bit, and I think that she could have cut some stuff out and maybe just given us a little more of what's going to happen next as Easter
Right.
eggs in the
So you
book. I
will.
don't know.
I mean, I know if you've read ACOTAR, but the way that SJM writes is her books are, interesting enough. This whole big chunk, and then I call it the mass hole at the end. The last 100 pages. Like, so whenever you're
Yeah.
in it, it's wild. And like in this book, the Ritterak and all of the other stuff came to light, and it was a little faster paced. But
Oh yeah.
but you also have to remind yourself she was 16 whenever she started writing this book too. So you can
This is
see.
true.
Yeah, so you can see her writing quality and how much better it gets as she ages and has more practice and all of that throughout the series.
For sure, there's such talent in the writing. I felt like she was kind of, I don't know. It felt like it was fillering a little bit in the middle, a little bit.
It
I
was.
guess.
That's why I just have to tell myself, I'm like, well, it's for character development.
Yeah, you know what? And it would have been if she'd have world built a bit as well. I think it would have been a nice balance if she had told us a bit more about what was going on and built the world as well as the character. Like, I really it's really stupid, but I really enjoyed him giving her the puppy. I don't know.
Too.
I was like, oh, I doodled a little dog on my pad. I was like, oh, he gave her a puppy.
Dorian is just okay. So this is a perfect little segue into Dorian versus Chaol.
This is hard for me because I kind of like them both, but I felt more that Chaol saw her for who she was, and Dorian could see what he wanted because he shouldn't really have it.
He was a pretty plaything, and
my daddy says I shouldn't play with that, so I want to play with that.
Yeah,
and I think you can see the dynamic between him and his dad his dad is bad and he's trying to be anti-dad, so dad says no. Well, she must be great then. You know what I mean? It felt a little forced. That his feelings were more to upset his father than whereas Chaol didn't want to like her. He really didn't when he couldn't help himself. And I love the underdog. I do. I'm a big fan of the underdog.
Yeah, something I had written down to ask was which you just answered, was which one do you think that she's her more authentic self with?
Yeah.
Definitely. So I also was going to ask, do you think that SJM introduced this love triangle a little too early or for a reason, or do you think it was perfectly timed?
I think love triangles suck, period.
I don't hate it in this book, though.
I think that they couldn't, I don't know, she kind of liked them both for different reasons, and I wondered if it's just because she's been in prison for a year and she's horny.
And she's like, oh, there's guys here, they're paying attention to me.
So I don't know, I felt like it detracted from the fact of who she was by putting these boys in front of her and it's like, ooh, shiny. Like, I think that took away from who she was as a person because now they made it a boy thing. I think if it was introduced later in the book, that might have sat a little better with me because I'm not a big fan of love triangles. So, I don't know. I think I can understand why it was done this way because young adults tend to like the romancy parts of it, and that's building who do you like more based on who the characters are. So I don't know. Yeah. I guess it didn't bother me, but I think it would have been better off a little later.
Yeah, I think I agree with that. I mean, it allowed us to see, I guess, with Dorian a little bit more of the playful side, and with Dorian, she even opened up about her. I don't know if she said his name, her last love interest. She did say it in the book.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she opened up with him about that a little bit, and it allowed us a little bit of a glimpse into her, and that she can actually care and love and all of that because she puts on this hard face. But yeah, I was always Team Dorian because I flew through the books my first time through, so I didn't even pause long enough to be able to differentiate. That was the end of book 1, book 2. Like, I just flew through. But this time I took my time, took notes, all of that, and I was listening to the audio while I was reading, and Dorian's voice, he sounds so pretentious, and, like, yes, I get it, he's a princeling, whatever, but, like, I don't know, I couldn't stand his voice, like, it's almost made me, like, veer more towards Chaol, but...
You know what, that's really funny, because that can do that to me, too. Character voices can make or break, so I get that. But I thought the voices were well done on the audio. I listened to it first, and I read it this time because I wanted to make notes. But yeah, I wonder if I'd have read it first, who I would have picked instead of listening.
As the series progresses, obviously they grow into their own characters. But
yeah.
I don't know. It was nice to see. I didn't realize that Chaol had, and she pointed out, like, he had amusement in his eyes, or these random phrases and stuff that I guess I didn't catch the first time through. So I kind of just thought he was like a hard ass, played by the rules. So, like, to see that he, isn't going to put down his professionalism as the guard, but he still finds humor and enjoyment in all of these things, which it was refreshing.
Yeah, well, he's there to protect the prince, and they were friends. And I think watching him trying to protect his life, protect his heart, and then trying to keep Celaena, like he's trying to box himself away. It was nice to watch how it all unfolded for him. Like, he
It seemed
couldn't
really
help
organic
himself.
and natural, and it just, yeah, he couldn't help himself. It just happened.
It just happened, and I thought it was really, I thought it was sweet, especially when he gives her the ring. It was really sweet.
Yeah, but one thing though is he's so bad at talking about his feelings. Like, I feel like he attempted to talk a couple times, and he was like, "Oh, never mind," and would just like shut down and leave.
You know what? That's my husband. My husband, like, yeah, like our very first date, you could see that he was petrified. So I get that. I understand men like that because I'm married one. So I kind of, that endeared me to him a little more. That he's awkward, but he still wanted to try, even though he didn't know how. Yeah,
Yeah,
I thought it was cute.
I'm really enjoying Chaol on the reread.
Yeah, I think, I hope that he hasn't happily ever after at some point in the book. Like, I don't know, in the book series, I don't know what's going to happen to anybody. And I know she's got a habit of killing people off. So I don't know what's going to happen, but I'd really like to see, I'd like a happily ever after for him.
He has a lot of ups and downs and character growth and all kinds of stuff throughout. And actually, I don't know, do you know that Tower of Dawn is pretty much all from his perspective?
No?
Okay, I'll get so much hate throughout the series, like, honestly. And looking back at it, like, I don't understand. People just like to have someone to hate, and for some reason they attach it to him. So Tower of Dawn gets so much hate as a book, and people are like, can I just skip it? And I'm like, why would you skip it? And they're like, the rest is so good. And I'm like, if the series is that good to you, why would you skip a fat book? Why? It's so good.
It's terrible because I did that in Twilight. I hate New Moon. I hate it.
I really remember it. I haven't read it in like 20 years.
Like, if I do a reread of Twilight, I have a tendency to skip most of the book. Like,
Which one is New Moon? Which number is it?
Number 2, the one where Edward's gone.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, she's like pining and shit. I just can't. So, just like, no. I want to read more about him. Like, of all 3 of the characters, I think he's the one I need more of right now.
You're more intrigued by him.
Yeah.
You'll get backstory. You'll get to know him inside and out. Honestly, all the characters we've talked about so far are, big players throughout the whole series. So you're going to get to know them, the good, the bad, the ugly, all of it. So
I need him to have a happily ever after, or I am not going to feel good. And that's kind of where I'm at right now. Well, the first book is like one of the smaller ones. They get progressively larger. My shelf's like, I'm like,
they do, but like the story gets so much better. So like Kingdom of Ash is like 1,000 pages, and I'm pretty sure I finished it in like a day and a half. Like, I could not put it down. I think I didn't sleep. I'm like crying, and like I couldn't. I was in the weirdest mindset.
Okay, so when I get to that book, then you're gonna have to stay in contact so that I can say things to you.
Absolutely, I'll be here because you're gonna need someone to vent, a shoulder to cry on, like you feel all the feels. Yes, Throne of Glass starts off slow, but she builds these characters up so much where you feel such an attachment to them, like you are with them.
I kind of already feel that way, and I'm wondering if this series, like, I know A Court of Thorns and Roses for me was more world building. I feel like this one's more character driven. Am I right in assuming that?
It's more character and world. There's a lot of world building and stuff. Not necessarily world building, but like it delves into the backstory of like the magic, and so you get to know about like their magic system and all of that. And that's whenever it starts to really get interesting.
I feel like you just kind of around characters more. That's how I feel right now. Like the Court of Thorns and Roses, the first book didn't feel that way. It felt like she went over the top with the world building, and I wondered if this one was more, it was about the characters.
This one is I just think that this one has more likable characters. So yes, she does a good job, but like looking back at A Court of Thorns and Roses, like I love Cassian, but like there are not any other characters that I really connected with. But in this series, I love them all. Pretty much.
I like Lucian in Court of Thorns and Roses. But
yeah,
you're right. It's
each time.
Sisters suck. I'm not a massive fan of. Yeah. No, you're right. You're absolutely right.
So the characters in this series are way more likable. Like, yes, there's a couple. They're obviously, you know, like the more evil, like the king and duke and all of this, that obviously she's setting up. They're terrible people. You know, other than that, everybody else they're great. I love them all so much. I missed them. I'm glad to be back in this world.
Well, I'm glad to meet them all, like, properly for the first time. Because I feel like because I sat back and read it in such a way that I was absorbing it more. As far I was just trying to, like, give me all the fantasy, give it to me, yeah, I need it. Like, so I felt like I missed loads. It felt like the first time I'd ever read it, I knew little bits of story was kind of coming back to me. And it wasn't that long ago that I read it, beginning of the year, I think. So it's weird. It's really a strange one. But I had in my head when people were mentioning Kane in the book, I don't know if you've ever seen the X-Men. We have Juggernaut in the cartoon. That's who I kept picturing in my head, this great big, like, Juggernaut thing. I was laughing. Every time the name got mentioned, I kept laughing.
You know, I really enjoyed Kane's voice on the audiobook.
Oh, yeah, it was brilliant. He was really menacing.
Yeah. Like, also enticing. Like, I don't know. I liked it.
Oh, you bad girl.
I'm like, I shouldn't like this voice. I hate this character. Like, he's the worst.
No, I could feel like he really felt like he was the best, and he didn't care. You're gonna eat his foot, kind of thing. It's funny because as far as bad guys go, he was good. He was good.
His I'm gonna get you killed and steal your power. Like, let's go.
Yeah, bring it. You know what I mean? It was It's funny because I don't think there was anyone I didn't really like except for that woman. I can't remember her name now. The one that was yeah, her. She annoyed. I understand now what was going on with her, but I still don't like her. I still don't.
Yeah, and I remember bitching about her so much on my first read through. Like, I was not a fan of her either.
And I had a question about why do you think she went with third person in this series? Like, as the point of view, third person. Like, I thought that was an interesting way of doing this. Because most fantasy books don't do that. It's usually first person narrative.
In the later books, she jumps around perspectives every chapter.
Okay,
so
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so like I love it, but I also hate it. So like, there's characters they'll introduce, and I'll get to their chapter, and I'm like, ugh. They end up being my favorite chapters. Yeah. Or I'll be like, all right, I'm gonna read one more chapter, and I'll flip it, and it's my favorite character, and I'm like, well, now I have to read another one. Oh,
it was probably because it's really interesting that because I could see they were trying to. It was from different characters' moments. Like there was Dorian's section, but it wasn't told from Dorian's perspective, and it was a little different, I guess. It was a different way of reading because I'm so used to these romantasy books kind of being told from someone's perspective, from their voice, that this was new. I didn't notice that the first time.
I think that the first, I don't know, I didn't notice it the first time either, actually. I didn't really notice it until you pointed it out. I read a lot of different books that have different kinds, but if I had to guess, it's because she flips POVs so much. Yeah. Later on, there's the cast grows. We're combined to this tiny little castle right now. The cast is going to, quadruple in size. So
yeah, it was something that I noticed. I'm like, I wonder if there's a reason for this. I'm like, I'm gonna ask Hannah. Because I wrote that down too. And I doodle when I write. So I'm like, ask Hannah, and I've got all these arrows.
Yeah. Okay. So let's move to Nehemia. What do you think about Nehemia? Do you like her?
I loved her, and you know what really upset me is when she thought it was her.
Me too, because she was such a good friend. Like, well, I say she was such a good friend. Do you think that their friendship is purely genuine, or do you think that it's more like politically? Because Nehemia is there for a reason. She's there to spy and get in, and you know
what? I think at first maybe it was that, but I think that the more they got to know each other, I think a true friendship bloomed.
They seem so cute and just comfortable with each other.
Yeah, and when Celaena told her who she really was, she was surprised, but it didn't change anything for her.
Yeah, I agree.
And I loved that. I felt like she was like, hey, I've been lying to you. And she's like, oh my gosh, I get it. She was like, okay, well, we can still move past it. I really liked her, but I liked her the first time around too. And when I thought it was her, she was keeping an eye on her at the dance, I was angry. I was angry on her behalf. I'm like, she's given you no reason to suspect her. But I guess...
What was the reason? Was it because she found out that she was studying and that she could actually speak? Yeah.
Yeah, so she was like... And I get it, but...
But would your mind take you to she's murdering people over, she's probably just trying to gather information and seem, under the radar?
No, because the first time I read it, I was absolutely sure that because she was there spying, that people will say things in front of you if they think you don't understand the language.
Absolutely.
So that she's there and she's doing the woman thing. Oh, well, I don't know.
So that should be where Celaena's mind takes her, right?
No, but she's used to assassins, I guess, and assassins kill people. So I do understand why she went there, but I really felt like she had misconstrued it so badly that I was a little bit angry. I was like, what's wrong with you?
And it really, like, they went, what, a week, 2 weeks without even talking? So.
Yeah! Well, she wasn't feeling good either, though, was she? Because she was battling what she was battling. So she was like, that's why I've been absent.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas Celaena took that as she's up to something, and now she's like freezing me out.
Yeah.
So,
it was refreshing to see at the end that Nehemia was the one trying to protect her the whole time. And I was like, oh, that's sweet.
You just gave me goosebumps saying that. I'm like, oh, I know.
Yeah.
So cute. I really liked her.
Me too. She's a very good character. She's good. And I really feel like, yes, like you said, liking these boys maybe a little bit too early, but it was nice to have a girlfriend for her to.
Yes. Because it made it seem like she never really had that before. Like everything was a competition growing up, right? So yeah, it was nice. And I think it gave her just a little bit of, it softened her a little bit too. Like we saw a very soft side to her behind the mask, like you said, like she's wearing.
Which is nice because the mask is badass. Like, don't get me wrong. She is, don't mess with Celaena Sardothien, but
she takes it off when she needs to, when she wants to. Yeah, I don't know. I liked it. And I think if we could have had a bit more of the friendship instead of the boy madness, I think that might have been nice too.
Well, there's time.
I know there's so many books and just, I'm like you now, I'm just like, I kind of want to whiz through, but I need to sit down, I have to allocate chapters, and I need to write down what's going on, otherwise I'm going to lose track. And I don't want to lose track.
Yeah. Well, we can stick to like a book a week.
Yeah, I got time for that. Yeah, I can do that.
Cool.
I can definitely do that.
All right, so I was going to ask, because I noticed it the first go-round, but I really noticed it the second go-round. Did you notice any recurring things that Sarah J Maas, like, just kept hammering in there? And if so, what do you think their importance or significance are?
You know what? I didn't actually pay much attention to...
Really?
Yeah, I wasn't really looking for... I was more concentrating on the characters, and I know it sounds really bad, but all my notes seem to be mostly on them as people, opposed to trying to pick out anything else.
Okay, well, I remember... Okay, so I went back in my thread history with my friend who got me into reading Throne of Glass just to see what my theories were at that time, whether they're right, whether they're wrong. I was like, well, that was my first reread, so those are safe to talk about. One of the theories that I put on there, and this is off topic, but one of them that I put on there is I was like, I don't think the king is Dorian's real dad, because they made multiple times about how he doesn't look like him and he has blue eyes and whose eyes are those and all of that.
But I did notice that too. And it's funny because they're talking about the Fae, right, with Elena, and I wondered if maybe he was like part Fae. But there was no indication of that. So I didn't...
I put that I thought that maybe one of his parents, that he's the son of some Fae or other creature with magic is what I had put.
Yeah. See, I thought the same thing, but I didn't see because it didn't crop up again. And I'm like, tuck that one away. Because I like conspiracies. That sometimes I go to the most outlandish places, and I'm so wrong. It's not even funny.
Because they say stuff for a reason, and I'm like, why does he not look like him? She's mentioned that twice. So that was one thing the first go round. And then I also messaged her, and I was like, why do they keep mentioning Cain's black ring? So I paid attention to that this time through, and oh my gosh, they mention it every single time he gets any time on the page. So that was another thing that I was wondering if you recognized.
You know what? It's funny because I did notice there was something about the ring, but I assumed it was something to do with when we found out what he was up to. Mm-hmm. So I thought maybe it was protecting him or giving him the power. Am I wrong?
Well, I was going to ask what you think it means. I'm not going to tell you what it means.
But it was, because I thought maybe the ring was signifying that it was him that was doing all that.
Well, he was not the only one that it mentioned having a ring in the book. And he was the one that was mentioned to have the ring multiple times, but towards the end of the book, I think I could look, I made notes, but towards the end of the book, like in the last 10 chapters, it mentioned that the Duke also had a ring on.
It's because because that was his champion. I assumed that he was also up to the naughty spell. Well, right?
Hold on. Let me see. Oh, I'm not going to be able to read these notes.
You can't be any worse than mine. I'm pretty sure mine is like Dr. Scroll. I typed stuff too, but
It literally said, and if I could pull it up in the book, I could get word for word, but it says this in the book, so I'm not saying anything wrong. But the Duke said that he was using the power on Caltaine. The king asked the Duke if he was using the power on Caltaine to manipulate her. Blah, 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 blah. And he was experimenting with the power of the ring, is what he said.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Maybe these rings had been made. They were fey rings that's where the magic was coming from, because the magic was gone, right? Didn't we read that somewhere that the magic is gone?
The king
I thought it was something...
magic. He outlawed it. He banned it. People are not even allowed to say the word.
Writing books or something, wasn't he? Taking books out of libraries or something that even mentions stuff?
He was burning libraries, universities, like all kinds of stuff with like no discrimination of whether the books had anything to do with magic. He was just burning it all.
Yeah.
Which
that's what I thought the Duke was using magic he wasn't supposed to use, but the king knew about it. And that Crane was the one accessing.
So maybe that the black ring would be like a form of that he allowed people to use. Okay.
I don't know. That's you know what? I'm gonna make a note about that. I'm gonna see if that crops up again at some point, because I'm guessing it does by the look on your face.
I wrote down, because I had mentioned that in my theories to her, so I wrote down, I can go through my notes and highlight all of them, but I wrote down every time that it mentioned it. Yeah. And it was a lot. It was more than I noticed the first time.
Clearly, they're gonna feature in the next books then. Like
it'll dive in and explain. But my first thought was, I was like, well, maybe it's like, you know, loyalty to the king. But then more people would have it in his court.
Yeah. I thought it was something to do with the magic, but I guess I didn't really pick up on just how detrimental that was until you just brought it up. Now I'm like, kind of need to flick through now and check. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I missed something.
No, it was little just subtle comments, but because I noticed it my first read through, I was like, oh, I'm going to pay attention this time. Also, another thing that I noticed my first time through, and that I really noticed how frequently she mentioned it this time, was Caltaine and her headaches. And so I'm like, all right, which one's the cause and which one's the effect? Is she smoking the opium because of the headaches, or is she getting the headache because of the opium?
I think she's using the opium to get rid of the headaches, and I think it's the magic being used on her that's
causing the headaches.
Because it sounds to me like they're experimenting on her. So that's kind of where my mind went with that one.
Yeah, so they said now that they've experimented on Cain with the physical effect,
now they're going for
the emotional whatever. So they're brewing something. Something's coming.
I'm excited to see what. I know, like, we've seen like this thing with Elena, and that she kind of came and helped the way she could. So I'm hoping to see more of that.
How do you feel about Elena?
It's hard to really know if she's real or whether she's kind of a ghost, an echo. Mm-hmm. And I know she couldn't really help in that realm. So it's like, is she in another realm? Is she real? Or is she a manifestation of something that was there before?
Well, after the duel, Nehemia talked to her about the opening of different realms and stuff, and how there's an in-between. How basically she was able to call her into the in-between where she can exist for a little while. Yeah, but in order to actually cross over, it would be an open, quick portal, and it takes a lot more power. So I think she just existed in the in-between and able to communicate with her.
Because I didn't know if she was dead, and that she was kind of been brought forward by, like she said, I could hear you calling.
Mm-hmm.
Something was calling. I didn't know if she was somewhere else and her consciousness is all it could get through, or like, I have a lot of questions about her. I'm really excited. I'm really excited to see. Like, I want to know more about the Fae. Like, I'm really hoping that the series gives me more of that and we get out of the human realm.
You will get it all. You will get everything you want and more, I promise.
Fantastic.
It's so good. Like, this book, honestly, it was good enough because I'm so attached to the characters, but like, it's boring compared to where the series goes. So
excellent. I'm so excited. I guess when I was doing the reading and I was going online and just having a look at what other people have been talking about in a non-spoiler fashion, and I was just getting more and more excited. People will kill people over this series. You do not talk smack about Throne of Glass or you will die.
I read a ton, and still to this day, Throne of Glass is hands down my favorite series. I've never experienced the range of emotions that you will throughout the series. Like, whenever I cry during books. It's not uncommon that I cry during books. I have never cried so hard. Like, I was crying so hard I couldn't breathe. I'm like clutching my chest. I'm like, ugh, like can't breathe, and still thinking about it days later, weeks, a year later, and I'll still freaking start crying whenever I think about it. Like, she just sucks you in and attaches you to these characters, and like,
yeah. I'm really like, I know the first book usually is just the one where everyone's kind of like, okay, now we're going to move on and we're going to get a bit more information. But I think she did a really good job with this first book. I really do. I know it's a little slow and it's a little cumbersome in the middle, but if I'd have read this one first instead of Thorn and Roses, I think I would have had a different attitude towards the book series. And it's only because of the sour taste that Thorn and Roses left in my mouth with book one that I put this one off for so long.
I started with ACOTAR before I moved to Throne of Glass too, but I really enjoyed A Court of Thorns and Roses, even the first book. I liked it all, but I hadn't taken I didn't read as avidly as I do now. Like, I used to read, but I would, I'd pick up a book here and there, and I didn't find my niche exactly. Like, I think I read like The Witcher and, random psychology weird books and stuff like that. But this was my introduction into romantasy. Yeah. So I loved it. So it was my first romantasy book.
Nice. I don't even remember what my first one was. That's really sad. So I remember reading it and I'm like, this is a little slow. I'm like, why are people ranting and raving like lunatics online about how great this series is? Because I'm like, I'm not seeing it. And I nearly didn't continue. But book two is where the magic was. I actually think that for the first book of both, Throne of Glass was definitely the superior book.
It was. Actually, one of my questions I had written down was to ask you is, how do you think Throne of Glass compares to other series first books, their openers?
Okay. Fourth Wing probably is my favorite. Fourth Wing. And I think it's just because it comes in and smacks you in the face right at the get-go.
It is good.
So this one was more of a slow burn into an introduction. But I think as far as books like this go, it's got to be one of my tops. It has to be. Because I think they did a really good job. The balance could have been a little better with the world building and the character development, but I really feel like there was so much heart in there. Like, you couldn't help attaching yourself to somebody and you're invested.
Yeah, I think the way that she does it, she gives you a sprinkling of world building and a sprinkling in every book. So it kind of gives you something more to learn and look forward to in each book. It doesn't have to just be all crazy action scenarios, which it is too. I don't know. Looking back at this, honestly, I feel like it was such a slow start for a first book. Because, like, Wing throws you in there. Serpent in the Wings of Night throws you in there. Like, all of these.
I haven't read that one.
I
haven't read that one yet. I need to build series by series because there are so many series out there. I just did The Coven. I don't know if you've read that by Harper L. Woods. Like, there's too many series and I forget stuff. And then I'm like, did that happen in that book or did that happen in that book? So I try and dedicate one series at a time because my memory is shot to pieces.
Well, if you need recommendations when we're done with Throne of Glass, I've read a lot of series. I prefer series over standalones.
You know what? I prefer standalones because I know that there's no cliffhanger at the end. Maybe an ambiguous ending, but no cliffhanger.
I prefer series. I try to wait and time, because my TBR is so long, I try to time them so that I can read the series as when they're finished, and I don't have. Yeah. I mean, I'm in the middle of, a handful of series that are not finished, and some of the cliffhangers suck. But I've got a lot. And it was, as far as Serpent in the Wings of Night, I've only read the first duology and the little novella. I haven't started the second one because the second book in that duology is not out. I'm going to wait for the second book to be out before I read both.
Yeah, that makes sense. Like, I'm glad that Throne of Glass is finished because it's such a long series. Eating sucks. And then I have to do rereads because I forget stuff. So being able to read them all in one go helps. Like, A Discovery of Witches is one of my favorites, and I still forget stuff. So I have to go do a reread of all the books when the new book comes out.
Yes.
And that's a lot of reading. They just dropped book 5, and then book 6 comes. I've got 5 books to squeeze in. You know what I mean? It's a lot. I have to really want to read a series to get that invested.
Yes. So to start a series that, like, you're about to start Silver Elite. So I will have to reread that book in order to do it. And, like, I enjoyed it. It was a good book, but it is by no means, it's not my favorite. So I'm hoping the second book, I don't know how many books are going to be in the series, but I'm hoping the second book, gets a little bit more exciting so that if I have to reread for a third one, because, it's good enough that I'm going to want to see where the story goes.
Yeah. Well, I think that was a debut novel. Like, that was her very first book.
Was it?
So I always...
It was good.
Yeah, so I always assume that it's gonna lack because you're a first time author. Like if you read Stephen King's very first book to what he's producing now, you can see how much he's grown as an author, and
Right.
he great. So I always give them the grace there. I'm excited to read that one. I'm very excited to read that one. Quicksilver was very good. I very
I'm so
much
glad you liked
really
it.
enjoyed it. And you were like, you're either gonna love it or not love it because it's
My best friend quit. She didn't even finish it. And I'm like, but she's like, it was so slow. But I didn't think it started off slow. I was
I
intrigued
don't
from the
think it was
beginning.
slow. I really didn't feel that way.
No. And the magic system, yes, it borrows so many tropes, but all of the tropes are recycled and rinsed and repeated in all of these books anyway. But
It's common.
it was able to throw in so many tropes and so many little twists that it made it exciting. And honestly, the magic was a little bit different than other books. So I liked it.
I really enjoyed it. Because I got the audiobook from the library. I just ordered a hardcover for myself.
I
was
want to
like,
buy the
if
book
it's
too. I like it
crap,
that much.
yeah, if it's crap, I wasn't gonna buy it.
Mm-hmm.
I think I was like a third of the way through, and I'm like, this is doing it for me right
I
now.
gave it 5 stars, and I don't give out 5 stars very often.
I know you don't. I know you
Yeah.
don't. So
It has last though, so that's good.
I really enjoyed it. I have a friend JC. She was like, "Have you read this one yet? Is it any good?" And I was like, "I hadn't at that point." And I sent her a message when I was done. I was like, "Dude, you have to do this book like yesterday, like
Yes.
now."
I looked back at my review for it, and I was like, okay, it's hard for me to say because Throne of Glass is my baby, but if the rest of the series is as good as the first book, this may end up being my new favorite romantasy series.
Sacrilege!
That was the first book. That was the first book. Compare that to Throne of Glass first book.
You know what? Yes. Okay. Because going to the question you just asked me about that, I think you might be right. I think there are better books out there.
Oh, absolutely.
There are.
I think that you should clump book 1 and 2 for Throne of Glass in and just say that's the first book because
Okay.
one ends off on like what? Like a big, not huge, like kind of cliffhanger, but like just slap in the face, I guess.
You know what? The end of this one, at the end of Throne of Glass, I was like ready. I was ready to jump straight in. Like I'm like, let's do this.
No, I already pulled my next book down. I'm ready. Wait, no, I got it.
I have it on the shelf up there. When I put this one back, I'm gonna pull number 2 out. But I realized with paperbacks, when you read them, they get thicker. So how the hell am I gonna get it back in that box?
I can't. Mine don't fit in there at all.
I
I'm
was
just
like-
gonna have to like pull Assassin's Blade out and set it on top or something.
Yeah, like I don't know. It's bigger now, and I'm looking at the gap, and I'm like, that ain't going back in there. So I
Yeah,
think
my second time to read through them too, and they barely fit in there. My Akatar ones are even worse. I can't, and I've only read those through once. I don't know why.
well, I bought the hardcovers for those, so that's not a problem. But yeah, paperbacks. But I did not have $200 for a box set of hardcovers of these. Like that was
Yeah.
It was $100 for all 8 of these in paperbacks, and that was reasonable.
I bought mine off some third party something. I think I spent like $80 on the paperbacks, and they're fine, but there's a line on every single page, like right here. There's a line where the font goes and it's so much smaller than the rest of it. And I'm like, oh.
No, that
It's
was obviously a misprint. I hate misprints. I got a copy of a book once from a publisher, and like there was chunks of text missing from the middle. Like somebody had come and just like wiped a square.
No.
Yeah, I'm like, what the fuck?
No, I couldn't deal with that. The smaller font is like, it's whatever. You get used to it. It's not a big deal. But like if I was missing information.
Yeah, well, they sent me a new copy. It wasn't a big deal, but yeah, I was like, what is this?
So I ordered, I know you haven't read Red Rising, but I ordered the 4th book in it, so the first of the second trilogy, and my friend decided to read it before me, and I'm so glad that it wasn't me. She called me and she's like, oh my gosh, this book is a misprint. And it jumps from page like 270 to page 500 and something.
Oh,
and it gave her like a huge spoiler, and then it ends up jumping back and it's just missing like a complete 30 pages out of it.
No, that would drive me insane.
Yeah.
My husband, when he orders books, if they're not pristine, he'll ship them back. I'm like, it had like a little thing on the corner, you could barely see it, but he noticed it and he got mad and he sent it back. I'm like,
Is he a reader too?
he buys a lot of like text stuff, so he reads a lot of text books. He's kind of a weirdo, but he likes fantasies and stuff like The Witcher and The Wheel of Time, and he likes he actually enjoyed the 100, which I thought was really freaking funny. I'm like, that's like
I haven't read the 100.
I haven't either, but he was watching the show and all he did was go, that doesn't happen in the book. That doesn't happen in the book. And I was laughing so freaking
I
hard.
do the same thing though. Whenever I read a book and then I watch it, I'm like, why? Why would they change that?
It's so funny. But yeah, he got them from the library. He whizzed through them. And I'm like, that's like tween drama, right? The one he was like, shut up, I love it. So I'm like, okay, all good. But yeah, I really enjoyed that though. Who am I to complain?
In your first read of wherever you got, did you get to where anything was introduced other than where we are right now? Like you said that you wanted to know more about the Fae and the magic and all of that. Did you meet any of that? I don't remember.
The last book I read, I think they went through a portal or something, and they're fighting something, and I think that's where I stopped. Like, that's where I got to.
Okay, well, I was going to ask.
And someone got stuck there, I think. See what I mean? I read so many different books. I'm like, what? Is that the right series?
I don't know. I haven't read it in like 2 years. And I mean, I don't want to say anything with any spoilers. But I was going to ask, based on their personalities, if you were to give the characters that we've met so far any magical powers, what do you think that they would be?
Okay, I think Chaol would have the power of invisibility. I get the feeling that he would like to be not seen, but he can see everything. So that he's got eyeballs everywhere. And he couldn't even... You know what I mean? And Dorian, it would be mind reading, because he's got a thing for women, and I think knowing how to seduce a woman with the power of what's going on in their heads, I think that would really... I could just see that. I could see it too, actually. Yeah. But I could, like... It was, as soon as you said the question, I'm like, yeah. Kind of like... what's that movie called with... what's his face in it? And he could read women's minds. What women want.
Oh, with Mel Gibson.
Yeah, with Mel Gibson, I'm like, that is what he would do, just so he could get in their panties. I could just see it. I could.
He needs that, though. I mean, he's a very playful prince.
It would be so much easier.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it would be so much... I could just see it. I could see it. He'd have the... I know what's in your mind. I know what you want. Or who to play hard to get. Who's going to play hard to get? Like, more of a challenge, right? Yeah, I could totally see that. And I kind of get the feeling that Celaena would like the power to make people stop talking.
Just shut up.
Yeah, just like
power to compel, kind of make people do things what she wants.
Yeah, like, don't talk, I'm going. I get the feeling that's what she would like. Because she seems like she doesn't have a lot of people in her life. She doesn't connect with people very easily. And I think that blocking out the people that are stupid would be really... I would like that.
Well, she's so intelligent too, and like honestly, it hasn't even shown you how her mind works yet. She is. What is the expression? She's playing. Which one's more? She's playing chess while everyone's playing checkers or something like that. Yeah. Whatever. That's her. She is a freaking mastermind.
How did she learn to read though? Like, is that part of her assassin's training?
So it said she started. First of all, she started being trained by the king of assassins, and I can't remember exactly the wording of it, but. I think it was Nox. Whenever she told Nox who she was, he called her like I don't know if he called her or if he called Erebin, but the Master of Death. So Erebin is like well known. He is the best assassin/assassin's trainer. He trains the best, and she started training at the age of 8.
Yeah, so, that's what I mean. So I wondered when you had time to read and to be so learned. Like it seemed.
I think that the way that he goes, and you'll learn about the way that he trains her. It even like. Do you remember what do you remember of reading about Erebin in this book? It didn't mention him often, but do you remember anything that it did mention about him?
You know what? It really didn't stand out. It didn't stand out. I obviously was glossing over stuff.
Well, also I've read the whole thing, so like I have characters that stand out to me because you get to know them more.
Yeah.
And so what it mentioned in this book, it mentioned that she had a scar on her hand because Erebin noticed that she was better with the sword with her right hand, and he said, "You can either break your hand or I will." And so she slammed her hand in the door.
Okay,
and then
I remember that.
It also mentioned that he was sending her to like all of these court symbols and fancy things, and then after the fact told her, "Oh, by the way, you owe me for all of that."
Yeah,
and she worked and had to pay it all back, and he blew it all within 3 hours.
It wasn't about the money. It was could she get the money?
And it's control. He's a manipulating, controlling. You'll get to meet him more.
I can't wait to learn more about like her time as an assassin. But I was like, where would they fit in all this reading? Because as far as I could see, like assassins learn the deadly art of poisons and knife play and how to kill people quietly. Like, when did she have all this time to read?
In order to be a very good assassin too, you have to be able to read people's body language and guess what their next move is going to be before they even know what the next move is going to be. So
You're not wrong there. You're not wrong. If I was going to be an assassin, I would definitely be looking at body language.
Yeah, for sure. So she is unbelievably intelligent. I love her mind.
Yeah. Well, so far I'm loving her. I'm really excited to learn more about her, who her parents are, because all they really talk about is that they died when she was young. So
and that she woke up in the bed with them. That's so sad. I was so sad whenever.
Yeah, I have so many questions, but I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna write all my questions down and
They're
hope
good
that
questions. They're good questions. You will learn the answers to them in time.
Okay, good. I'm sure I will. It's just I'm one of those people that I want to know it now. Like if it was my daughter, she'd already have gone and wikied it. She'd be like, oh, how did their parents die? Who are they? And she would have wikied it because she hates not knowing.
Finding out in time is like the beautiful part of it, though. Like she just do a little bit at a time until you have the whole piece or the whole picture, and it's all.
She's a weirdo. My daughter likes to read the last chapter to make sure it ends the way she wants. Yeah, she's weird. If I'd have known she was like that, I would have given up for adoption because that's just weird. Okay, I can't tolerate that.
Keep it to yourself.
Yeah, but I was like, you do that? She was like, you don't? I'm like, no, that's why it's at the end of the book. If they wanted you to read it first, it would be the first chapter.
Absolutely. No, that's not me at all.
Weirdo.
Let's see. Favorite/least favorite character? I think you said you really don't like Celaena.
No, I didn't. She was literally the pits. Every time she spoke, I could have happily have stabbed her with something.
And was it more than just her voice on audio? Was it?
Yeah, well, not even reading it this time around, because I only listened to the audiobook this time around to make sure I was getting the names right.
Mm-hmm.
So I was just kind of like clicking through chapters just to make sure that I was saying the names right, and a couple I wasn't. But even reading it, I'm like, you're such a doofus. Like, you're a serious knob-end. And even at the end of the book, when I realized what was happening to her, I'm like, I think you still would have been this way. You just would have been better at it.
Yeah, she's just power hungry. She just wants a crown on her head.
I kind of felt like the magic was pushing her towards more of how they wanted her to go about it. Mm-hmm. I think she would have been doing that anyway. I think that was her goal all along, and she was just more susceptible to what they were up to. I don't know. I really did not like her at all. And I think Chaol is my favorite. I really do. I understand him. I understand who he is, why he's there, and what he wanted for the prince, for Dorian, but he couldn't deny how he was feeling about a woman he really did not want to care about. Like, he thought this was a bad idea, and she won him over, and I loved watching that. And
a few side characters who I loved, and I wish they would have gotten more. I loved Knox Owen.
I loved Knox too. I was gonna say he was like
he's so solid. He's so solid. I feel like he absolutely knew who he was. He saw her. He's so smart. First of all, like the fact that he was able to just start picking up on these pieces and be like, oh, yeah, this isn't what's going on. Like, what's going on? Who are you? That was cool to me. Another underrated character I feel like I love. I don't know the title. Maybe she's her maid or whatever. But Philippa, her little servant maid lady, I love her.
Oh, yeah, helped her sneak out.
Yeah,
I like her too.
Like, I'm on board. She could get probably freaking hanged for sneaking out assassin to the royal ball and stuff. But
yeah.
Liked her.
Yeah, I did too. Yeah, they're firm favorites as well. I don't think there was many people I didn't like, and I even kind of liked Kane. Like, he's not like I wouldn't put my hat in the ring for him or anything, but I kind of felt like he was a great bad guy. He was
he was a good bad guy. Oh, how do you feel about
the Duke either? The Duke really irritated me, the Duke.
From the beginning. He freaking pushed her down on the floor to bow, and then I love that Dorian was like, the whole purpose of having someone bow is to show respect. If you're forcing it's kind of... I
wrote that down. That's the first thing I mentioned about Dorian was how he put the Duke in his place. Like, I enjoyed that. I really enjoyed that.
I enjoy all things Dorian, and that's why whenever hearing his voice, I was like, no, that's not his voice.
I know. I actually think the audiobook was pretty well done, and I didn't actually dislike the voice for him, but I totally get what you're saying. He come across a little overly confident. Yeah. No, I get it. I actually didn't think it was that bad though, but I didn't have He wasn't my favorite, so
I
it
had
didn't
so much
matter.
love for him that hearing that, I was like, that's not him.
Yeah, no, that's all I hear in my head. No.
He sounds way sexier in my head.
Yeah. He's so much more sophisticated and suave.
Absolutely. I mean, I guess he's got some time to grow into it. He is, you know, pretty sheltered in his castle at this moment in time. So
Yeah, and I think he's trying to assert himself as being something different from the king. The king is very malicious, and I think he's trying to show that he's very different to that.
you know who doesn't get much time or isn't talked about much is his mom, Queen Georgina.
Yeah, you know what? That was something I wrote down. Was why?
I don't know. And actually, the first time it mentioned her, I was like, "Oh yeah, there's a queen." And I was like, "Oh, I forgot to write her name down." Oh well. And then she was mentioned like one or two other times, but that's
She's alive, right? Because she has another kid, right? And the kid's
Holland
naughty
is
shit,
his
right? Yeah. So
apparently
she's still alive.
Yeah, what we learned in this book is his brother is like evil like his dad, and he's been sent to school, but that he had previously like killed one of his servants.
Yeah, beat them to death or something, and the family got paid up. Yeah, I was like, ooh, what a
People are
terrorist.
aligned with her father, I guess. And I don't know who Dorian's aligned with because his mom just seems to care about, you know, finding someone for him to marry, and that's really all that there is to her.
Exactly. Yeah, that's an interesting. I didn't think about that. Like, why do we know so little? Why was she such a minor character? That's interesting.
I honestly don't.
I'm gonna write that down.
It's been a couple years since I've read this, but I really don't remember where her storyline goes.
Yeah, well, now I want to know. Like, I wonder what book that's gonna be in. I'm excited. But yeah, that's a really interesting question.
Yeah. So, any standout moments or anything that took you by surprise, or
You know
anything?
what? It was mostly the part that there was just one quote in the book, and I wrote it down, and it was, "No, I can survive well enough on my own if given the proper reading material." And I was just like, boom, mic drop.
Yeah, the quote, so whatever. Actually, the quote that I wrote down was that the libraries were full of ideas, perhaps the most dangerous and powerful of all weapons.
Yeah,
So
I
that's
wrote that
I
one
wrote
down.
down a book quote.
Yeah, I think that's one of the biggest takeaways from this book for myself was the fact that she did feel like she was given the nod to us. As readers reading her series, that she's put this badass, strong, independent woman who hit rock bottom and is still clawing her way out, that she's such an avid reader like we are reading her series, that we are as badass as Celaena, that she's saying, hey, readers, you are warriors. You know what I mean? And that's what I took away the most from this book was like, Sarah J Maas was like, I see you, readers.
I do. I love that. And also, I mean, you know, not to get political, you're in Canada, but, you know, typically it's the bad guys doing book bans and book burns and stuff, and we're experiencing some book bans right now, so.
Yeah, we are too, but they're just moving sexual content books out of kindergarten grade, like early grades, and moving them to the high school age. So we call it relocating here. I don't know. I don't know if I would be happy with my kid getting a hold of like genderqueer at age 5. You know what I mean? Like, because there's pictures of giving BJs and whatnot.
Okay.
Yeah. So relocating a book
Some of them relocation, yes, and then some of them, like, you know, 1984 and classics and things like that.
That's not the problem we have here. They literally are moving anything with explicit sex.
Ours, I'm not.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't agree with any of it. At the end of the day, I think a librarian is not going to let a 5-year-old grab a copy of something it's not appropriate. So why are we not trusting the people we entrust with the books to make sure that the right books get in the right hands? You know what I mean? So I don't know.
Get into the wrong hands. It's an opening. You cannot shelter your kids forever. They're gonna see something online or hear something from friends, so it's an opening to talk about them.
Yeah, I'm fairly certain that Roblox is more scary than anything in a book that my kids can get hold of. Because someone was like, look at the wording in this one. I'm like, my 6-year-old can't read that. You think she's there going, oh, I know exactly what this means. I'm like, no. But the genderqueer one is like a graphic novel, and there are pictures depicting stuff. So that one was a big problem. But there was only a few schools it was in. So it was like 4 schools, I think, in the whole of Alberta that it was in the wrong spot. And someone was like, well, it was supposed to be for trans kids and like so that they could understand. And someone was like, well, I don't care. I don't want my 5-year-old seeing that on a page as a comic book. You know what I mean? So I kind of understand it, but I also don't think it's up to anybody to choose what my kid reads. My daughter, when she was 13, was like, I want to read it. I'm like, okay. I said, there's going to be some stuff in there that you are probably going to want to talk about or skip. I'm like, feel free to come talk to me when you get to that point. She's like, she got there. She was like, I know what section you mean. I skipped it. I'm like, good for you. I'm like, but if you do want to talk about it, yeah. Like the sex part with the, she was like, no. I'm
That's
like,
how I'm gonna parent with my kid too. I'm gonna be like, honestly, obviously the super graphic or dark romance and stuff, I'm gonna have her wait. Not necessarily till she's 18, but maybe at least until she's sexually active.
Yeah.
But you know,
it's really hard.
Girl learning moments and
I
an
want my kids.
opportunity for conversation.
Yeah, well, I'd like my kids to ask questions, and they can't ask the right questions if they don't have access to the right information to ask the questions. And if we think about what we were reading as kids, like I read Flowers in the Attic when I was 11. Like it doesn't get much more depraved than that, and that's how we all grew up. Like I don't know, my mum didn't censor books, but she also didn't censor movies or anything like that. And I kind of wish she had, because I am so scared of spiders after arachnophobia that I blame her.
That's funny. Well,
So do you think, what out of all 8 books, where would you put this book on a scale of enjoyability? Out of all 8 books, between 1 and 8,
this is my least favorite book.
it's your least favorite.
My least favorite book.
What? Okay, now I'm freaking excited.
If I had to rank them, Kingdom of Ash is my favorite.
Okay.
Kingdom of Ash is my favorite. Obviously, it's the last one, so you get the closure, the wrap-ups, all tying off of all of the loose ends. It's an emotional roller coaster. Very close second is Queen of Shadows. I freaking love Queen of Shadows. Queen of Shadows, in my opinion, is a masterpiece. Like, it is perfectly written. Awesome. And then probably Empire of Storms is third. And I don't know. I think Tower of Dawn is probably next, and then Heir of Fire. But I do love Heir of Fire. Heir of Fire just starts off slow. It starts off, and you're just annoyed with Celaena in the beginning of it. You're like, get over it. I, for some reason, don't have sympathy whenever characters are depressed for too long. So she starts off, and she's like, woe is me, and all of this stuff. And I'm like, get the fuck over it so we can move along.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. No, I just wondered because I really enjoyed this book. So I just wanted to know, like, if there was going to be a lull at any point in the series. And I guess
the beginning, if I remember correctly, the beginning of Crown of Midnight, the next one, starts off a little bit slow too, but the mass hole, the end of it is so much more exhilarating and wild and jaw-dropping than this one was.
I'm excited. I'm really excited to get going.
Me too. So awesome. We'll be diving into Crown of Midnight next.
Oh god, I have to slow down because I want to eat it all right now.
Me too.
I don't want to get mixed up, and I will get mixed up. So I'm just gonna do this the right way.
Well, if you want to go through it quicker, just have to let me know which pace I should be going at, because I could fly through it too.
Okay. With all the other books I've got going on, I think probably the rate we're going at is probably best for me. Like I've got other things to be doing. I filmed my Rory episode today because I hadn't finished the Scarlet Letter yesterday, and I'm like, shit. Like fine.
So long.
Yeah. Well, I hadn't either. And I liked it better the first time, so.
Yeah, I think that was a high school read for me, and I haven't read it since.
Yeah. It was okay. Like, I really enjoyed it the first time I read it, and I was really excited, and I'm like...
It's short, though, right?
Yeah, it wasn't very long. It was fine, but I trying to keep up with everything I've committed to now, I'm like, I don't know what I was thinking.
I'm only doing 2 right now. I'm doing Yellowface and Wayward.
Oh, I loved Yellowface. I know there's a lot of controversy surrounding that book about, like, the subject matter, but I really enjoyed it.
I mean... Technically, the title probably isn't the most. It's a little controversial, but like other content, I'm really enjoying so far.
I like her as an author, though. Like, I like her books.
I've only read Babel before this, which I enjoyed. I liked it, but it wasn't one of my favorites. I feel like it should have been a little bit shorter. The story was great. It could have been a little bit shorter.
I really enjoyed Babel, and it's what inspired me to read The Poppy Wars, and I really enjoyed The Poppy Wars.
The Poppy War is on my list. I have the first book over there.
So good.
I know, and I've heard it's gonna rip my heart out, and I love books that do that.
You wait. You just wait. It was it's a really good series. Really good.
I have a reading buddy, one of my friends, and she was like, "I'll read it with you," and I'm like, "Well, hurry up." Because I keep getting these 5-star reads, and I keep like adding to her list, and I'm like, "Well, please read this. Please read this."
I know that's the problem with people when you buddy read and they don't read at your pace.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's really hard.
She's the one into ACOTAR and Throne of Glass and the whole Sarah J Maas verse, and so she was at that point in time reading faster than I was.
You clipped her.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Don't worry, I'm always here for a buddy read though, because you read as fast as I do. Yeah, you read
Yeah,
as fast as I
well,
do.
you say that, but you're like 100 books more than me, or 200 books more than me this year.
Only because I get up stupid early and I read at bedtime. Like I don't
Mhm.
like my
I
my
read at
morning.
night, but I don't get up early to read. I love
Oh,
my
I
sleep.
do.
I'm a
I do.
sleeper.
I was up this morning at 5:30. Oh, I know because it's
Today was my
quiet.
day to sleep in, so I slept in until 10:30.
Nice. Good for you. Good for you.
But I stayed up until like 3 reading, so you know.
Well, you know what? You probably got about as much sleep as I did there, because I think I would have been at
Yeah.
9.
Yeah, I know. I've always been a night owl. Like before I had kids, I would go to bed around 5 in the morning every
Oh
night.
wow,
Or every morning, I guess.
that's crazy.
So
You're
now I have
crazy.
to, well, I don't know. I've just always been a night owl. So now I have to shift it, and I try to go to bed by 1.
Oh my god, you sound like my husband. My husband would prefer to be. Actually, you know what? He doesn't need that much sleep, so he'd rather go to bed at 1 and be up at like 7, like 6:37.
Yeah, in my
Or
ideal, if I could do what I want to do, I'd go to bed at 3 and I would wake up at 10.
wow, yeah, he would do like 10 o'clock and get up at 4:30 because he likes the quiet, and our kids are loud.
Mine too. I
Yeah,
think that's just the universal.
I've got 4 little ones, and they make a heck of a noise.
Yeah, that's twice mine, so I can only imagine.
Yeah, it's crazy. I don't recommend it. I don't know what I was thinking. But I'm home, so I get to read. So I guess win-win.
That is nice.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna wrap
Wrap
this
it
up.
up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so join us next week when we dive into Crown of Midnight. Oh, and you can let us know in the comments. Obviously, spoiler free because Stacey has not read it all, so don't ruin anything. But let us know if you're Team Chaol or Team Dorian.
Yeah, I want to know too, because I get the feeling that it's going to be 50-50. 50% of people prefer one or the other. We hope you have enjoyed this episode of us doing our deep dive on Throne of Glass. You can always find us on our social medias. We both have Instagrams, so instagram.com, and then you can find Hannah at the toppling TBR _ Hannah, and that's HAANA. No H on the end. Yeah, see, I knew I was going to do too many letters. Did you see that?
Okay.
And then you can find me the same way, the toppling TBR _ Stacey, and that's EY at the end. We have a Facebook page that's at the toppling TBR. You can find our YouTube channel at the toppling TBR, and we will set up a TikTok at some point, but I ain't got time for that. I'm sure Hannah hasn't got time for that either. We hope that you have the reading week that you deserve, and we hope to see you next week.
Yeah. See you next time.